Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Melissa and I am in the process of recording the 4th episode of Xena the Warrior Princess. The title is Cradle of Hope. This episode, to summarize a bit, this episode talks about the Greek myth of Pandora. I looked into this. So, Prometheus is a titan. He had the ability to create humans out of clay. So according to the story, Prometheus stole fire from the hearth of Zeus to give to humanity. And because he did this, he was punished. And an eagle will swoop down. He was chained to a rock, to a boulder thing. An eagle will swoop down and eat his liver and his innards for a really long time. Alright, so he's a titan. They grow back. So titans, gods, they're immortal. They don't die. So every day that eagle will come and eat his innards yet again. And he was rescued by Hercules, I believe, because I think it was part of the my apologies, Heracles, part of the labors of Hercules or something like that. It must have been it, I feel, if I really didn't look into that part, but it could be. And then I believe when Prometheus was free, Zeus was like, okay, to complete that game type stuff. So Zeus and most of these gods, they're pretty vengeful. And like us humans, I feel. So they kind of like mirror us in a way. So Zeus made a command that I believe it was Hephaestus. He told Hephaestus to make a human, the first woman, I believe, and her name was Pandora. She was married off to the brother of Prometheus. I forget his name, but just to go along with the story, yeah, so Pandora was actually considered the first woman. And she was given a box. And this box had a lot of kind of like bad emotions, very dense emotions, like sickness, illnesses, hunger, pain, anger. And she was told, do not open this box. But of course, her curiosity got the best of her. And once she was married off to the brother of Prometheus, she couldn't help herself. She opened the box, and guess what happened? It's a can of worms. When she opened the box, all these heavy emotions flew out from the box. And she didn't notice that this was happening. She was probably very shocked, I believe. I wasn't there, so I don't know. But I'd probably say, like, if I were there, I'm just messing with you guys. And she snapped the lid back in place. And the only emotion that was left inside that box was hope. So to this day, humanity, we may have pain, we may suffer through illnesses and a lot of these heavy emotions, and we go through trials in life. However, there is something that we all have, and that is hope. Hope is something that cannot be taken away. So I just wanted to start off strong, I had to get the story of Pandora out there in this episode because it's very important, and you will see why. And this is from the top of my head. I was going to write a script. Well, I will have a script, but this is me saying that when we start off the episode, get into the episode now, that was just like a preface about what the myth is about. Another Greek myth, so fascinating. Pandora's box. There is a king presented to us. He is consulting with a spiritual counselor, spiritual counsel, a type of divination going on. It's an old woman. She is divining the stones or something to see what ails the king. So she speaks of a prophecy, and this prophecy involves a child that is not his, a child born to one of the servants at his castle. And supposedly it goes like this, that this child will take the throne from him, that the child will take the throne. And you know very well, when it comes to politics, dynamics of, you know, the court, right? Like any royal court, any obstacle to the throne is eliminated, unfortunately. So the king has an advisor that, let me tell you, this guy really irritates me, okay? When they first introduced him, I was like, nah, you're not good news. You're not, okay? Because he was advising the king, sire, get rid of that child. And the king, he was hesitant, because I'll tell you why. Because he had a wife, he had his queen, and he had a son. So they both died. And I mean, the king, he seems like a good person, okay? He doesn't seem the type to be into butchering babies or, you know, getting obstacles away from his throne, right? So he basically doesn't really want to. So he says to his advisor, no, it's fine, leave it be. But the advisor is so persistent in saying, sire, that baby will be your destruction and la la la, right? So one of the servants finds out, which is another servant, and she manages to sneak the child away from the castle. And we're getting like a reference. I know this is not about religion, but we're getting a reference about putting the baby into a woven basket. Yep, you guessed it. We're talking about a similar reference to the Exodus, Moses, when Moses was also placed on a river inside a woven basket, and that river took him, you know, he floated down the river. And this also happened to the child in this episode. And you know, he's drifting along. This is during nighttime, and in the morning he ends up on the riverbed close to the camp of Xena and Gabriel. And we get to this very interesting, kind of amusing, because I was like, wow, I feel Gabrielle, when she noticed the baby, she was like, oh, she was like, wow, you're so cute. No, she was being kind of like maternal, which is, you know, great, right? And and Xena was like, what, you know? And Gabrielle was like holding the baby, and the baby was like crying. And Xena was like, what did you do? Did you break it or something? Or I'm like, girl, like, why is it crying? Like, I just found it so funny, I couldn't stop laughing. I'm like, girl, you probably did not have like a maternal bone in your body, right? Like, but this is Xena. She probably does, you know, because she was telling stories to those children from the episode Chariots of War. So I believe we all have our sort of maternal side. So moving on, we come across Xena and Gabrielle going on a path, right? And they have the baby with them. So they encounter a mob, okay? And this mob took it upon themselves to try to execute coming in Pandora. So this Pandora is not the Pandora that I talked about in the beginning of this podcast review. No, she is a descendant of the original Pandora, but she has her name. However, her family is known for being able to keep the box from opening again by always having the box near them, right? So I like the fact that Xena called out the leader of the mob and saying, she asked, who's in charge here? And the guy is all like, oh, isn't obvious that it's me? And Xena's all like, mobs are usually led by weasels. And then they were gonna hang Pandora for her being different, for her being, as you can say, an outcast. And when you are different, what do people do? Well, they want to hurt you because they fear things that are different. And that is so messed up, because in today's society, if we try to be different, they try to either criticize us or try to bring us down. But this is a really good lesson. So, and I guess Pandora didn't really seem fazed about this, but I'm pretty sure she was like, oh yeah, they were gonna kill me, huh? Like, girl, calm down. I like that even though Pandora was saved in the end and all three of them went into a kind of cave to take refuge from the storm, she was able to tell a bit about her story, that she is the granddaughter of the original Pandora, but they share the same name. And also, she says to Gabrielle and Xena, this box is the most important thing in my life, and that's why I cannot live my life. I'm like, wow, that's kind of sad, maybe she could have done other things, but having that box with her, really, it's a type of burden, possibly, having to be the keeper of this box. And Xena told Gabrielle, hey, let Pandora hold the baby. And Pandora's like, oh no, I can't, like, I don't know how to take care of a baby, I don't think I'm good at this. And I kind of feel Xena was trying to, in a way, like, I don't know, maybe have her, like, get out of her comfort zone, probably, giving her, like, a little push. That's what I felt when I saw this part of the episode. And Pandora seems to have taken, like, a liking to the baby, like this internal maternal instinct inside of her woke up, and and I was like, wow, that's just kind of, it's really beautiful, like, I know this episode is not about maternal stuff, but I kind of feel talking about this is important because some women are very maternal, and that's wonderful, and unfortunately they are being pursued by that advisor soldier guy on the king's side, saying to his soldiers, we need to find that infant, and if he's dead, oh well. Like, I got the feeling that this advisor guy, he doesn't want that child to take the throne, because he will lose the power that he's enjoying now while he can keep controlling the king. So I kind of feel like the king is more of a type of figurehead, and this guy is controlling him like a puppet. Does that make sense? Gabrielle, Pandora, and the baby make their way towards the bar so they can get some milk and port wine. And what happened was the fact that the innkeeper, he told them to go get the guards, and Xena noticed that, and she was supposed to check her weapons in. I'm like, that's suspicious. Why will you want her to check her weapons in, right? So the soldiers come, there's this huge brawl, and Xena manages to fight them off, and they scamper away. And the guy's name is Nemos. He actually takes off with Pandora's box, and I'm like, what the heck, right? So I guess Nemos knew what that box meant, and he is trying to use the box as some kind of it's a bit to basically exchange for the baby himself. And Nemos took it to the king, so he has it. So I think Xena plans to have a meeting with King Gregor, and I'm like, wow, all this over an innocent baby, because of some silly prophecy. And then when Pandora finds out that the box has been stolen away, she gets very worried because the box has to be in her possession because it will open without her. So this is why her family members always carry the box with them, because they are the only ones that can reset the latch so it will not open. So according to her, they have before midnight to get that box back. So they hatch a plan to get into King Gregor's castle. But first, Xena will meet with Gregor. Xena met with Gregor and she wanted to find out what kind of man he was, and to her deduction, he's not a bad person because he cared about his kingdom and his people. And he even said to Xena, I know who you are and I won't let you hurt my people. So, Xena, she has her past, right? So the king was being protective. Yes, he was being protective. And the thing is that he told Xena that in 24 hours you have to make your choice. So anyways, we go back to Xena being with Gabriel and Pandora and the baby. And then Ophelia comes in. She's actually the servant that put the baby into the woven basket. And then Xena's all like, who is this? Like, she's like, feeling suspicious, who is this? And then she tells them, oh, I'm the one that put the baby in the basket. And then Xena calls over to Pandora, and Pandora comes out with the baby. And what I noticed is the fact that Pandora has really taken a liking to the baby because she's been taking care of him so far from that point, from when the bar brawl happened, when the bar fight happened with those soldiers. And then Xena asked Gabriel, how did you find her? She met Ophelia. And then Gabriel said, you have your gifts and I have mine. So you wanted to scout your way into the castle? Well, she's the way. And then Xena, she looked impressed. She's all like, good job. One thing that I do agree upon is the fact that knowledge is power. And Xena meant that she didn't want to tell Nemo's about the box being opened, that it will open after midnight. So she said to Gabriel, I didn't want him to know that, because knowledge is power. I'm like, damn straight it is, because I love knowledge and I love learning, so I understand that and I respect that big time. Xena asked Ophelia if there was a way to get into the castle tonight so they can find a way to get the box out of the castle. And Ophelia said, no, not tonight, because there's a festival going on. So they make a plan, okay? And Xena dresses up as a belly dancer, of all things. I'm like, that's pretty smart. Now Nemo's, he chooses a dancer girl from the festival, and of course Xena gets picked because she was like turning on the charm, the magnetism, playing the part of the seductive dancer girl, and she got picked. And yeah, so we're switching over to Pandora and Gabriel and the baby. They are outside of the castle. They're waiting for Xena's signal, and the baby starts crying, and Gabriel tells Pandora, try to quiet him down or he'll give us away. And Pandora, she starts singing to the baby, and Gabriel even, she looks at her quite inquisitively, and she asks Pandora, did you ever consider having a baby? And Pandora could never hope for something that won't come true. And however, if it were to happen, her having a baby, she wouldn't trade it for anything. So I think she did take a liking to to the baby in this episode. And now we go over to Xena. She literally was taken to the bedchamber of Nemo's. And I'm going to keep it very PG, okay, guys? I'm not going to go overboard with no, nothing happened, okay? And it was so funny because she was just asking questions and Nemo was getting too close to her. And let me tell you something that it was so satisfying to watch because Xena literally punched him out cold. And I was like, you know what? He was very irritating and not a good person. All right, not a good character because he's like evil. He wants to kill a baby, you know. And anyway, she went into the king's chamber and she was looking for the box, but she overheard the king come in. And yeah, so the king came in and he was, you know, talking to his dead son by his cradle, saying, "Oh, wise son, why did you leave my side?" And, you know, he's just lamenting there. And then Xena knocks him out cold. And, you know, Nemos makes his move and she's caught. So she decides to... This was really, really fun to watch. And I was like, man, Xena, you're a badass, you know? She ended up literally tying a piece of rope, like stretchy rope, on her. And she gleefully laughed and bungee jumped out the window with Pandora's box. Like, that is so cool. And she is so amazing, okay? Like, I love that about her, that she's very, like, daring, and, you know, that's awesome. And also, you know, she's going through trying to get that box to Pandora, and then right when she meets Pandora with the box, it slows down. The scene slows down and Pandora places her hand on that box, and it's so mystical looking. Like, it's so good, okay? It's amazing what they did there, the director for this episode. And she turns the hand on the box, you know, like the hand seal, and it resets back. And Xena decides to take the baby back to King Gregor to fulfill the prophecy. She talks some sense into him, and she placed the baby in the cradle before he got there. And she says to him, "Make him your heir. You both need each other. This baby needs a father, and your father that needs a son." King Gregor agrees, and Nemos is defiant. He comes in and says that infant has to die. Xena protects the baby, and then it gets a little bit silly here because they're tossing the baby like if he were some sack of potatoes. And we know in real life, like, you can't be tossing the baby like that because babies are fragile. But this is a TV show, but that's the charm about Xena, I guess. Kind of like the over-exaggerated fight scenes, and it's kind of wacky, but I enjoy it, you know? It makes it cool, I feel. And Nemo fights her in the end, and he dies by Xena's hand. He is finally defeated. I loved the ending personally. Pandora found a home. Since King Gregor said the box will be safe in the treasury room and the baby needs a mother, all three of them found a home in each other. Gabriel said the original Pandora was cursed due to the box, and Pandora, the granddaughter, was blessed. Yikes. The box fell as they left the treasury room. Gabriel and Xena as they left, and it turns out it was empty. And Xena says, "Hope has been and always will be safe. It's in every one of us." How true that is. All right, guys, this is the end of my podcast review of episode 4, Cradle of Hope from Xena. Please like this video, subscribe if you haven't, and comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts on what you thought about this episode, and if you're seeing Xena or have you watched Xena. Let's reminisce together, okay? And yeah, so thank you for supporting me, and talk to you soon for episode 5. And so looking forward to that. Okay, bye guys. Bye.